Because Shona Ruth.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean,
So final boss is Jaden. Got it.
Gotta love the unspeakable, unfathomable eldritch horrors.
I can neither confirm nor deny any of this conjecture, as it could cross with, the Tuesday game in coming sessions. So. Oh, all right. So we were in a harbor, and there's a lot of squiggles drawn here. There's colors. Everything is bright and shiny and happy. And look, we have a party with a bunch of owls. It's a beautiful evening. That is not exactly what's going on. There have been explosions. There has been shipwrecks. There's been cannon fire. Lots of fleeing and combat and casualties. And ultimately, with the group of you having done kind of an impromptu sneaking mission, like Metal Gear style here, you're infiltrating the tanker. And you were discovering about its insides and the people, both alive and not, who were crewing it, about the machinations contained therein. And also, Bright was kind of, she was off and ended up having a big explosion over here. We had airships that were plunged into the water, and one was on a collision course. And finally, after you all had met in the bowels of this ship, the command center sealed the bulkheads, and that's when Casimir said, hey, there's a thing over there. Only it was much more accented, and also not exactly those words. In which case, you all started going up the stairs, and with these owls just kind of hobbling behind you here in single file going through the hallway, which is an amazing visual to me anyway. And you reach the top, and sure enough, there where Mordecai had made all of the sailors bow or kneel in fear, giving up, and also being inspired in some sense by his particular presence that they seem to recognize. Well, they weren't so much alive anymore as very much dead, and there was a silhouetted figure that wasn't revealed until Bright's plan came to fruition, which in itself was a fulmination. And for all of you out there, the ship you see that is all squiggled out, it really should be squiggled out in warm colors, but I already made it warm colors, so let's just say it exploded in midair and kind of went down. Bright had this amazing, leap over, splooshed down into the water. It was kind of I was kind of envisioning it like there's a part in True Lies, if you're familiar with that movie. There's a part in True Lies that reminded me of. But yes, so here we are. Bright was in the water. Everyone was on deck, and Mordecai in particular noticed that in the otherwise dim light of the evening here in the harbor, set against the glow of the fires and other just ambient lighting that's going on here, it is none other than Raphael, who is on the deck of the ship and is covered in Shadowhar sailor blood. And if any of you are new here, there has been an encounter with Raphael before. And in fact, Raphael was one of the original Chroma Company who died in the first encounter in the flower fields. And a something happened that ended up bringing him back. They encountered Raphael in a, well, I can't even say cabin in the woods, because it wasn't in the woods. Cabin on the prairie. And there were signs of some necromancy. In fact, Celine had some particular insight in conjecture into what Raphael is, as well as maybe the nature of these other undead. But there were certainly clues that were here and there, and Raphael ended up running off, and, well, he's back. And we're going to see what happens here as we are aboard the deck of the ship. And as per the kindly request of Coffee Cat, as well as I think what will end up being a great amount of common sense for whatever's going to happen, I have made a more detailed map of the ship, and I will take that. I will take us over there to it, and I will go over the battlefield conditions, the what we're seeing and hearing in the moment, and then we are going to have a good time. I hope, however it manifests. Maybe, hopefully, yes. All right, let's go here. All right. Here we have our big water pump tanker. It is on a 5-foot grid scale, so those measurements are as they are. There are 2 floating airships that are taking up, if you click on it and you see the square, I mean, they are kind of in that bowed shape, but they are as big as the square around them is. You can also see that from the edge of the ship to the surface of the water is 30 feet. And from the edge of the ship to one of the protruding donut engines is 10 feet. The curved tube is 10 feet in diameter, and then it's another 10 feet to the water. You all are coming out of a little stair, like a covered stair area, which looks like the opposite of what's down here. So right now, like, all the owls are lined up, and they're behind Casimir waiting to exit out the red door. And we have the others here. We have Raphael here, who's standing among the dead of those who had those he had killed while you were below decks. And of course, on the initial entrance, there's a lot of other soldiers that are here. Mordecai, these are the 2, they're not sailing masts, but they're definitely lookout posts. And the nest, the lookout nest is 40 feet from the deck of the ship, okay? At the fore and aft, are raised sections that would lead into maybe some sort of cargo area or a crew area or something. The one in the front here has a roof that's 15 feet up from the deck and has 2 double doors next to each other. The one in the rear, maybe that's more for equipment or large things, because it has like almost a garage door that we know of. Like, it would just be a segmented door that seems to roll up. It doesn't swing out or in. And then you're seeing on the sides of the ship, there are 8 water cannons. And those water cannons have an area where an operator can sit and sort of pivot the water cannon. So, for example, if I take Jaden here, Jaden can get into the little seat with the guidance, and can end up projecting a stream of water if she so desired from it. And in the background, if you're like, what did he post in our chat room on Discord? If any of you choose to interact with those water cannons, the stats for them are in our cast and crew section, so you can reference them. Okay. All 4. I mean, the whole ship is rumbling because there's more than just the 4 engines that you can see. There's presumably some that are below water, and of course, for those of you who went down into the guts, there's still even more of these engines that are whirring and providing pump effects as well. And there's a large gout of water that is coming from like a big several gnome diameter pipe is out of this kind of open mouth of this whale-like tanker ship, and that it just has a constant spew of water that's coming out of it. Not that, I mean, beyond maybe an occasional, like, if the wind changes, it might kind of mist over, but that's not really going to have a tremendous effect. Maybe you're feeling a little uncomfortable, Mordecai. We'll see if anything happens in that regard, but... and then, of course, down here is a wrecked airship that was making that was on a collision course. That was on a collision course to the engine, and it did make a collision. So this engine was bashed in by a water-bound airship. And let's see. Aside from any sources of light you are creating, everything is going to be dim light. So consider that for any of you that do not have dark vision, or if it helps you hide or something along those lines. Everything is dim light unless you make it otherwise.
Hasn't it counts as dim light even with dark vision?
Yeah, it is natural dim light. So if you have dark vision, you're okay.
Okay.
But if you don't, or again, if you're trying to like hide or try and argue for cover or something along those lines, the environment is all natural low light because of the wreckage of the airship that exploded and the burning docks, and maybe there's little ambient light sources on the ship or something along those lines. But to make it easy, everything is low light here.
The only thing that wouldn't be would be a radius around Jaden due to the Sunblade, if the Sunblade's active. Because that does produce light.
Then yes, I don't know what the radius is, so I would need Jaden to let us know. Or if you have an aura, if you want to put up of bright light around your character.
Give me 1 second.
I think the only person it would detrimentally affect would be Jaden anyway. So if
Sunblade. Illuminates 15-foot radius. Bright. Dim an additional 15.
Yep, and you can
The
make
light
it
is
up to
sunlight.
30. And you can make it up to 30 if you want to spend an action to expand it by 5-foot increments, I believe is the rule on that.
so long as Jaden has the sunblade out, she can see just fine.
Yep.
Yep. And
Yeah,
me,
well,
I can
particularly
see-
for a
I can
melee
just fine with
character.
everything.
So.
I can just see, I can see just fine in everything because Devil Sight.
Ooh.
I don't deal with your shades of grey. I deal with full color.
I was gonna say absolutes.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes. Unlimited power.
Okay.
Let the
So,
hate flow through you.
yeah. So I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
Which way is to shore?
To shore is pretty much going back to the general appearance here. It would be I forget where we had left off, but if we're gonna say it's where it's at now, pretty much any direction would be shore, except if you go off of the front. That would just take you further out to sea.
Okay. And if we go back to the other map.
All right. Doot.
Okay. Which end is the front?
Right here.
That's the front.
Yes.
Okay, so I think I'm actually on the wrong side of the ship because the ship I was on
Oh.
had flown over and had gone to the east side. Yeah, something
go.
in that area. Good. And then I also, let me put Peggy Sue on the map
Yeah.
because I had conjured her up. There's the new Peggy Sue.
Jasper's not conjured, is he?
Not currently, no. I don't think it would take very. I believe you
It's a
did
10-minute cast.
You did summon him, but you had him dismissed, so you can. I believe you
You can't
can.
dismiss like a familiar. No. It's either
Yeah.
summoned or not.
I might be
Nope,
thinking
I
of
mean
No,
you can
I-
dismiss him like a familiar, but he doesn't come back.
He
has
doesn't
to
come
be-
back like a
It has to
familiar.
be cast to come to bring him back.
Yeah, that's 10
10-minute
minutes.
cast
We don't really have 10 minutes.
Okay, so
We have owls though. Who needs Josh?
yeah,
Haven't practiced
sure,
this accent in forever.
Jasper's better.
sure.
Yes, but owls.
Yeah, okay. So, okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Okay.
Fly is still active, yes?
No, Maddie said in the off week that it actually ran out.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it was 10 minutes, so 10 minutes has passed.
Okay. Cool beans. I can work with that.
And to be fair, we've blown up several ships and killed a large number of soldiers.
Some of that's not my fault.
Also, there was a thing that I could have done that I didn't, which is a shame.
So what I will do is, we are in a moment of tension. Now, there hasn't been a sword swing on either side, though I think it would be appropriate if we do go into initiative, as it is a tense moment. It is reuniting with Raphael, and I guess we'll find out where and how this goes. So go ahead, everyone, and make an initiative for me, please.
See, that's funny because I haven't ever met Raphael.
These are facts. Ooh, look at that green number. Casimir is really
I
twitchy.
finally get a good initiative.
We all got good initiatives.
Wow, jeez.
No cleric initiative here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no club. Well, I mean, technically I have like semi-cleric initiative because I'm the lowest, but even then it's not bad.
Cleric initiative, when I say that, is like 10 and lower.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
And
Also,
do I get a high
Well,
number?
That was my only good roll for
Oh,
the
that's
day.
not a high number. That's a number that's lower than all of you.
Everyone.
Yeah.
It's poopy.
Well, shoot. All right. So this looks like we're going to have a Casimir, and then I guess between Bright and Mordecai, who's twitchier?
I would want to go first this round at least.
All right.
Mordecai has the higher modifier, so
I would intend to try and talk to him
Okay.
before things even really got tense. Just ask him, what are you doing here?
I'm now just curious because everyone's got all tense around this guy, and I want to see why.
Really, it's just Mordecai that's got tense. The rest of you guys don't know him.
Just tell me
yeah.
whether or not they're hit.
So what I'm gonna do also before we begin our initiative of talking, fighting, bargaining, fleeing, whatever you all end up doing, I don't know. But we are, you do have some favors that are floating. And whether you use them or not, they are going to clear after this session because we've kind of floated some throughout, because it's been a building thing here. So if you all have a way on your character sheet or a piece of scrap paper or something, I'm going to mark these as complete as I'm going down them to make sure they're cleared on my end, and so you can have them to invoke at some point in time should you choose to do so. But I have one tally mark for Jaden. I have one tally mark for Professor Cypherius. I have one for Bright. I have one for Mordecai. I have another for Mordecai. There's a couple that were sent to me. Skipping over those, we have one for Mordecai, one for Cypher, another for Cypher. There's one for the Owls. And, you know, so Casimir, if you want to share a +1 with any of your Owls, you can invoke it. They're your spell. We have another for Mordecai. We have one for Jaden. And we have another for Professor Cypherius.
So I'm rocking like 4?
I'm rocking 4.
And I have 5. So I have
think
my
I just have one.
I have my list, and we shall We shall see where this ends up going here. So the deck is slick with blood and entrails and water that's kind of sprayed around. I would. I'm not gonna say it's difficult terrain, but if you take the dash action, I might call for a basic dex check to try and keep your feet on the very slick surface of the ship. Or I mean, if you have special magical movement or something along those lines. But due to everything being slick with blood and guts and water, if you're dashing, then I will call for a dex save to keep your balance.
I think that's fair. Viscera can be very slippery.
Yeah. Okay, and so you all know the stats for the water cannons. If you want to pull that up yourself, that's on our Discord channel. And any other questions regarding the environment or the circumstances before we get into our kind of, turn by turn what's happening here?
I think we're good. I'm
Just
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think upon seeing Mordecai getting tense, Cypher might turn and be like, "What's got you all tense all of a sudden?" I'm pretty sure everyone on the top deck is dead, like very dead. Like it looks very slippery, kind of dead.
His eyes don't leave Raphael. And just stares at Raphael and says, "What are you doing here?"
So this is this will be, I guess, what leads us into our interaction, because Raphael takes some of the like the tight bandages that were around him, revealing himself post explosion. You call him out. What are you doing here? He says back in Infernal. I don't know if that's really a huge barrier of language for most or all of you, but in Infernal, you get a kind of a raspy sounding "my job,"
Which is...
and you can seek clarification in a moment. Casimir, you're the twitchiest here. You're sandwiched between a bunch of owls that are wobbling their way up some stairs to the top deck, and you're behind the professor and everyone else who's already... Like, you are technically out the door on the deck, but what would you like to do in this moment here?
Are we fighting this guy? Because I can do things for fighting.
Still deciding.
You guys need to make a mind quicker.
Okay, so Casimir, are you taking like a defensive position, or are you readying an action?
I'm gonna move up.
Sure.
Move up so my owls can get it all out.
Okay.
If I have to walk around them, I will.
Okay, and yeah, I mean, you can move through an ally square, no problem. I mean, you can even like take the professor, because he's probably standing on some guts. You can just kind of like move him to the side. He doesn't even have to lift his feet up. You just sort of like slide him over, and then you can walk through, and then you can just slide him back.
Yeah, just move over.
Okay. Because I'm going to revert the owls all to you, Casimir. I know some were under the command of the professor, but we're back together, and to keep things simple, let's have the owls go at the end of your turn.
Just have the owls move like in a defensive position around party.
Okay.
Probably like some here.
So behind you all, flap, 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 is a bunch of giant owls. I'm going to say that this one is on top of the roof of the little... I will say it's 10 feet up. It's on top of the little roof covering the staircase going down.
And then I guess I will ready an action. Basically, if he starts attacking us, I'm gonna start attacking.
Okay. So Mordecai, we come back to you. We can continue. I'm sorry, I wanted to make sure we were slipped into initiative, and then we can continue.
Okay. So what is this job?
To end the influence of the Shadowheart, which, in this case, would include you, Mordecai. Their mark is upon you.
I am not Shadowheart. And I'm not going to attack him until he attacks me. So if he moves close to me in an attack position, I'm casting a spell.
Okay. Which spell are you preparing?
I am preparing to launch off a guiding bolt.
Oh, all right. You can see if you light them up. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Next, then we have Bright. Bright,
Okay.
who is blorping in the water up here.
Yeah, I finally can get back to the surface, and I watched Peggy Sue, so that's good. And I already had planned on doing this, so I'm going to cast Sending to Mordecai.
Okay.
We talked about this in the off week, and I'm going to say, so I think I've managed to take out one of the ships, and I'm really tired and out of spells, and I don't need you to save me immediately, but I think I'm ready to go home now.
Was that 25 words?
Should be.
Yeah.
We didn't get the usual close, though. We didn't have room for the signature. All right.
Fun fact. Raphael's here. If you're exhausted, don't worry about it, I guess.
I can't reply, so
So,
Well, you can
You would
verbally,
have
but it probably won't be heard.
and I'm just gonna let. And so Peggy Sue was just kind of flying up to, like, take a look at the big boat. So
Okay.
she's not gonna get too close. She's just looking around.
Okay. I'm gonna say in the moment here, there are streams of water because remember that this was coming on like a big show-off parade. So each of the cannons, while they're 30 feet up, they're 30 feet from sea level, which is where you're at, right? But just be aware that coming out of each of them is about a 50-foot long, 1-foot wide jet of water. Just, you know, Peggy Sue is kind of close, so, you know, I'd hate to have her
Yeah.
kind of fly into one and kind of go...
Yeah. So Peggy Sue and I are both staying out of the jets of water, and they're unmanned, right? So nobody's gonna like turn the hose on.
Yeah, they seem to be in a locked... They're on, but they're in a locked position. Though they do appear to be on, like, a swivel, like a swivel kind of a base.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good enough for now. Neither of us is gonna crash into those.
Okay. Alrighty. We go next to Jaden. Jaden, what are you doing in the situation?
Now, if I recall, this figure is still corporeal in their form, despite how horribly mangled they are.
This Raphael character?
Yes.
Yeah, he looks to be corporeal, yes.
Dead or alive, he's coming with me. So I will approach and I will detain.
Okay.
I am going to try and grapple this thing to the ground and where I have manacles ready for him.
Okay. Then go ahead and grapple.
There's the Derek rolls we all know and love.
Thankfully, it's a contested roll,
It is.
so you might win out.
And you do.
Okay. So you walk up and you grapple Raphael.
Yes. Maddie, you are currently scratching your beard in that method of, I wasn't planning on this.
Oh no, it's absolutely fine. He
Alright.
he hasn't moved. Like he's not. I mean, he's like. He didn't seem to have anything ready. He's. You came up and you have him in a grapple. He hasn't fought.
Then if he continues to not resist, I'll end up placing him under arrest.
Okay. Professor Cypherius.
So I heard him say, Raphael say that his job was to get rid of the influence of the Shadowhara, including Mordecai. And that included Mordecai. I'm gonna move over now.
Mm-hmm.
Still on the circle, but basically grabbing Casimir, sliding him back along the viscera, moving forward, and then sliding him back into place. Just like Casimir did me all of about 2 seconds ago. And
Can
look
I
over at
contest that?
Raphael. Now, speaking in Infernal, I'm going to look at him and go, now, the unfortunate thing is, I kind of require Mordecai to be around, so in the best interests, would curing him suffice? It'd remove the mark that you were talking about.
There's no cure. Rasps the grappled Raphael. Jaden, actually, since since the professor did get a reply from Raphael, go ahead and make a perception. Since you're all up ons. As Raphael does reply, you don't notice fangs in Raphael's face. If that means anything to you. But you do see that his eyes do have almost like a glow behind them. He doesn't have fangs, but his eyes have a very low-key glow. All right, Cypher, anything else at this moment?
I shall ready an Eldritch Blast if things get heated.
Okay. Then it is Raphael's turn. Raphael is going to kind of like give a jerk and a wiggle in your arms here. Uh, 14 and a 14. So it's a meter beat, and I have met. So while you've gone up and you've engaged in Raphael here, he just barely manages to maybe you kind of came up and you almost have a bear hug, and just kind of flexes enough to break your finger lock or however that you're trying to hold him. And the shadow must be driven. And a hand that's all wrapped in bandages and such rises up, and his eyes, for all of you to see, it's not just a subtle glow behind them, but his eyes flare up for a moment, and the corpses immediately around him begin to shudder and transform. And the corpses, as they're shuddering, you see that their fingers kind of grow into sharpened points, and it's like whatever mass was inside them, like it's sort of almost like reapportioning the mass from things that they don't need, like guts or whatever, into elongated fingers and like very taut muscular forms.
I have a reaction.
This is not counting as a spell. You can keep your counter spell. But this is not something that is going to be able to be countered, as this is it's not so much a spell that is being cast as this is a native
innate ability.
Yeah, an innate ability here. Whoops.
Okay. Well, I intend to spend my action then.
I wish there's a way that the dots could be made a little bit larger. If you all know of a way to do that, then edumacate me. But unfortunately, all these little status symbols, they are, unless you're super zoomed in, they're so small. Actually, this... let's give it a different... I'm going to give that a green dot. This was one of the lieutenants that fell, right here.
I do plan to use my held action.
Okay. Yeah, just give me one moment to...
Same.
Okay. So these are the dead sailors that begin jolting and jittering. Their bodies are undergoing this transmutation as they've come back to a semblance of life, or most likely an unlife. And in fact, you have seen these type of undead before, Mordecai, especially in conjunction with Raphael. These corpses that have been twisted to become more gaunt, vicious, and with these like elongated, pointy fingers, and you know their mouths. Like for those like who might still have a lower jaw or something because the battle was fierce, their teeth don't become vampiric fangs. They just become more like a predator's, like a bunch of pointy, sharp teeth.
Tasty maw.
And all of their eyes glow the same color as Raphael's. And so that is Raphael's action, and so we have some reactions to resolve. So Mordecai, I think you were first on the react stack here. So your guiding bolt, you're going to cast guiding bolt on Raphael.
I intend to change it to Dawn if you'd let me.
Let's stick with guiding bolt as that's what you had sort of programmed. That's what the spell you were holding. But there's always time for Dawn coming up because he's pretty much the last initiative.
Okay. Then, yeah, guiding bolt at 5th level.
Ooh. All right. Oh, 29. That's a green number for all of you watching at home. Green number's a crit.
15. 24.
And if he's undead, he takes extra. He's off. He would. Well, if
Yeah, he's
Radiant.
undead.
Radiant vulnerability.
Let's see. We have so it's 28 plus 34, so 58. 62 points of damage. Is that what I'm looking at? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Single swing.
Okay. And then I believe the professor had a held action. Is this triggering your action? And
It is.
Okay. Casimir, you have one, but I don't think you have a reach weapon. Unless you want to bonk, I don't know, Mordecai or someone who's in melee with you.
Alright, well then, I'm going to be using good old-fashioned hyperspear death beams in Eldritch Blast.
Pew pew.
1, 2, 3.
Your three Eldritch Blasts fly forward, and they impact his shield as he manifests, and they don't seem to cause any damage. Not a magic shield per se. I don't know if I described that correctly. I don't want to confuse it with a spell because it wasn't a spell. I also don't want to just say you missed because that's lame. How about this? In ensuing, he holds his hand up. There's all these corpses rising. He takes a quick shift, like a foot to the side, to almost put Jaden in between you and he. And I don't know. At the last moment, you boop, you move your finger out of the way and you curve your three Eldritch Blasts, such that they don't impact Jaden. I think it's a little more dramatic than saying you missed.
Yeah, no, my highest roll at any of those was a 9. That was that group. Hey Derek, I think I have your dice.
Yeah, well, you can keep them.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
There we go. Jaden unleashed this session, everyone.
We need the fighter to actually be having good dice.
Yep. Well, that is the Eldritch Blast. The blast of the Eldritch have been made, so now it's time for. I'm guessing it's Mordecai's turn. Considering.
Well, it's Casimir then Mordecai.
Oh, Casimir.
Casimir did have a held action, but wasn't next to an enemy, a jittering corpse. So we're gonna come up to your normal turn here, Casimir. What would you like to do? And the owls.
I would like, if I can, to have my owls attack first, particularly this guy.
Sure. You can send your owls after the corpses. Pardon.
Where's attack button? Okay. If I can move the one here over here.
Yep.
And have those two attack it.
Okay.
This is +3. Ooh.
All right. One will hit, and the other, I guess maybe they both lunge, and one was angled a little bit too much. It kind of bounces off the first, but the other one does get a good scratch in.
All right. So the attack is 2d6. 9 damage.
Okay.
Still standing?
Yep.
That's what I was afraid of.
Do you want to move another one over?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to get past that. Oh, 1d3. +5.
That does hit.
2d. 8 more damage.
Okay. It's still up.
I don't want to waste all my resources.
Knowledge is a resource.
Yeah. I'll move this owl over too. I'm gonna surround him with owls.
Sure.
I have to.
Oh yeah, that hits.
one.
Ooh,
Come
mid
on.
doubt.
Wow, still up.
Still up. This one next. Oh. 20. Just 12 hit.
That hits.
Good to know.
All right, the last one like tries to, like, it goes to like lunge, like leap forward to get like a flap behind it to then sort of like put its talons out, but it slips on some guts, and it just it's barely in there, but it still manages like clench and tear a segment out, and this corpse, well, it becomes a corpse again.
Good.
And
You guys
is
cannot add up those ones.
it is actually it's pretty much just like reduced to a pile of guts and shredded flesh by all these owls. And what happens is when it falls, the light that was in its eyes sort of dissipates and gets sucked into Raphael. And some of the let's see, how would we describe this? You landed that crit really well, Mordecai. So like some of the on the exposed flesh of Raphael, it was kind of like bubbling, kind of like cheese in a microwave. You see that some of it smooths back out. It's still undead flesh, but it doesn't look as ruinous as it did after your beam hit. All right, Casimir, do you want to move or do anything else?
I'm going to move here.
Okay.
There's no... And I'm going to... Yeah. Roll in the attack so I can hit each one. Each of the three.
Okay. We're gonna start with north undead, east, and then Raphael.
Yep.
So 1, 2, 3. Hit, and hit. Nice whirlwind.
And Raphael took damage, right?
Yes, he has taken damage.
5 extra.
And 5 extra. All right, so then he takes 17.
And the 2 other owls will come up just for...
With the total... All right, there we go.
Probably right here.
Like that?
Yeah, to defend our casters.
Sure. Okay. All right, then we are on Mordecai, turn 2. You have a little taste for, I guess, what is happening here. You have some melee people on Raphael. There's owls. What do?
I'm first gonna say to him, I am not Shadahar.
You carry the legacy.
That doesn't mean anything. And I take out the sunburst pendant, and I am going to cast Dawn using a 6th level spell slot. Doesn't change anything, but I'm gonna cast Dawn, and I am going to place it. Sorry, Casimir, you're probably gonna get bopped. It's a 30-foot radius.
Ooh, a 30-foot radius even.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're positioning this. Yeah, you're positioning this as far back as you can.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because it's movable.
All right then. We are going to. Oh, is Jaden involved in this too?
Might be.
Okay.
And let me actually.
If you move it back just a tad, there wouldn't be. It'd still catch Casimir, but you missed Jaden.
Well, let's see if I can actually select it. It's not gonna let me select the shape. It's not gonna let me
Yeah.
move the shape.
Yeah, it does that.
It's dumb.
Yeah, it is.
I made the shape.
I am your creator! Obey me! Alright, let's see.
Well, it's not gonna let me select the shape, and oh, there it goes. That's the square.
Yep.
That's a 30-foot radius, isn't it? Or is it not?
No, that's 30-foot diameter.
Yeah, radius is...
Double that.
Yeah, radius
it?
is half.
Double the size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diameter's the whole
massive.
shebang.
Oh,
Radius is from
duh.
center to edge.
I can't
Edge.
resize it. Because I don't have control of that.
We know where the front edge is. That's fine. You're still gonna incorporate, or you're still gonna get all the ones that are in there. So for now, I mean, we'll float a mental note that if you can't resize it, it's bigger than what
Center
it
is
appears.
there.
All
Center is
right.
there.
So my Raphael, unfortunately, is I swear he's supposed to be a boss monster. You wouldn't know it, but I promise he's supposed to be a boss monster. And he's going to take 20 radiant damage. Ooh. All right. So that is going to be...
Casimir also needs to make a con save.
Yep. Casimir, if I'm going down, you're going down with me. And then I have to roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more.
Can't make saves.
No, apparently you cannot. So you're also taking 20 damage.
I don't think I've ever passed the save.
And I'm going to...
Wouldn't be dex save.
Oh,
Wow. Well, apparently the minions are okay here. So, is this half on a save? So it looks like... Ooh. These might be... Nah. Okay, those are not the beefy boys that I thought. So, if we go clockwise, we have full damage. Then we have half damage. Then we have full damage. Then we have half damage. And then the 7 is a full damage. So that will actually nuke this one. And then...
I've created one that is properly sized.
Ah, there we go. And then this was full. Oh, and then there was this one that's taking half. Okay. So, damage has been assigned to boss... Oh, you know what? I actually, I didn't roll for the lieutenant here. And the lieutenant is...
And you got these guys over here too, right? Because I corrected the size.
they're just...
They're corpses you're
Oh, those
bathing
guys.
in light. So
That's true.
you've lit them up, but just maybe not in the way that the others are. Okay, and the lieutenant is also taking some big boy damage here. Okay.
And
Wow.
in case it matters, it's 40 feet tall.
Yeah, Bright, as you're bobbing in the water, you can't really see over the edge just due to the angle, but there is certainly this big cylinder of light that is radiating from the deck.
Okay. So I have a solution for that, which is that I'm going to go ahead and look through Peggy Sue's eyes.
Okay.
And she's up in the air, so I should be able to see all kinds of fun things.
Okay. Oh, real quick, Mordecai, are you moving at all, or are you staying there? Is your turn over?
I am gonna move back here.
Okay. All right. Yep. So you fall back by the...
Just to get a little bit of cover.
Okay. So Bright is looking through Peggy Sue's eyes, and what are you doing with Peggy Sue then?
Well, I wanted to look around, so I have a whole bunch of questions for you.
Yes. Sure.
The first one, so normally swimming is half of your walking speed if the water is calm enough, but if the water is difficult, then it's kind of a ruling. So how hard of a swim is this?
There's a lot of waves because the boat is turning. There's a lot of water kind of squirting around and spraying everywhere. So in this case, I would give, I'd say half if you pass an athletics check. Otherwise, I guess we'll do a, I guess it's not a huge difference for you. So I guess it'd be a matter of either 15 feet on an athletics. But if you fail, then you're kind of treading water because maybe a wave kind of crashed against you. Or you could just take 10 feet and I'll just give it to you. Because the waves are hampering, but they're not necessarily like, they're not dangerously crushing. They're not like big surfer waves or anything. It's just enough to kind of bob you around like the little...
Yeah, okay. So I'm actually normally slow, so 10 feet. I could only move 2 squares normally. So
Oh, yeah,
maybe
you're
one
at
square.
25? Oh, shoot.
Yeah, stubby little gnomes.
Yeah, okay, so then I guess it would be... I guess it'd be 2 on an athletics or a guaranteed... a 2 or nothing or a guaranteed 5.
Okay, that's fine. And then, so the next question I have, looking through Peggy Sue's eyes, is there anything on the ship here that looks like I could climb it?
Yeah, I'll say that there's that, you know, I should have thought about something like that. I'll say along the side there is some kind of like a built-in like a metal ladder that would go up. And why don't I put that? That was a very good question. I will drop that.
It's conveniently right in the middle.
Yeah, I'll drop that here amidships, and there will also be a complimentary one going down.
Okay, I know you're used to wizards flying everywhere, but that's only wizards with spell slots. I only have one left, one good one left, and I'm saving it.
A wise
okay.
wizard.
Yeah, so now I also want to have Peggy Sue look over towards the eastern shore and see if she can see any sign of that wizard who is over there making trouble for all those ships.
Sure. Give me a perception.
Okay, give me just a second. Sorry. This is the...
You have to use Peggy. Does Peggy Sue have dark vision?
No.
Okay.
But she did roll an 18.
Yeah, so 18 or 19. I guess we'll go disadvantage with an 18. Sure. So Peggy Sue's kind of looking around and looking through her eyes. There does not appear to be anyone lingering on the docks. Not even a rubbernecker to gawk at what's happening. Let alone someone running out to cause more mischief.
Okay. So I have another question. Sorry
Yes.
for all the questions.
Well, you're an inquisitive gnome. It's fine.
Yeah, and also a player with a lot of crazy ideas. So Peggy Sue is really just a reskinned raven because that's a standard familiar.
Okay.
And would you do me a favor and take a look at the raven and mimicry ability?
Certainly. That is
It's
in
on
the
the-
player's handbook, right?
Yeah, player's handbook. The page is 309.
All right, I see the raven mimicry. The raven can mimic simple sounds it has heard, such as a person whispering, a baby crying, or an animal chittering. A creature that hears the sounds can tell they are imitations with a wisdom insight check.
Yeah. Okay. Would you allow that to work for spoken words?
If it was a simple word, because it says something like a baby crying or it says a person whispering, but that would be like the pss, 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 not necessarily the speech, but the sound of the whispering, like an ASMR kind of thing. But maybe if there's if it's like a simple word like rally or go, or it's a very clearly spoken word, then I think that a raven could pick up on something like that.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. So I'm going to go ahead and take just my guaranteed 1 movement.
Sure. Okay.
and Peggy Sue's going to take the dodge action.
Okay. In gnomish culture, is this still a doggy paddle, or what's this called?
No, Braid can swim. She's not a bad swimmer.
Okay.
I mean, I'm all wet, but that's usually what happens when you're swimming. So you get used to
Usually,
it.
but not guaranteed. Magic.
It's true. Gnomes
She's
do a lot
not.
of fun
She's
with
not
things.
in proper bathing suit attire
Yeah.
though. She's in her red dress.
It's true, but at least it's not a super constraining dress. At least
That's true.
it's better
She
than
doesn't
plate mail.
wear corsets.
It,
It's true.
That's more Celine's.
Much better than plate mail. Okay, that's all.
Speaking of which, hi, Jaden. Oh, do we have investigator Jaden?
Investigator.
Hey.
Hello. What would you like to do? There is a, you are right on the edge of the light. You are in effective melee contact or range of this Raphael character. What's Jaden doing here?
I'll just swing at it with the sudden blade a few times.
Say 3 times?
Might as well. It's
All
not
right.
like anything else is gonna work.
All right. You swing the Sunblade, and the first one, your hammer is coming down, and Jaden, this is a mighty strike, and Raphael brings up a formerly concealed weapon and parries the first blow. That would bring your hammer back down, and as you're continuing the momentum, he barely manages to get out of the way of the second, but then you keep that momentum going for a third strike, and that one cannot be parried, and you land a solid blow with your third hit.
It's odd that the third strike is the one that couldn't be parried.
And Raphael is in fact an undead, meaning going to be tagged for that extra little bit of damage. All right, so your Sunblade like hisses along Raphael's Raphael's side as he kind of overextended and was trying to dodge, but didn't expect you to have the skill to strike a third time. And your Sunblade kind of burns away some of the bandages, showing very pallid tiefling flesh beneath. Anything else for you, Jaden?
Moving on.
All right. Next up, we have Professor Cypherius. You're behind a wall of owls, and there's a lot of undead that are gonna get to do something here soon, unless you do something about it.
Yes. Yes, there's quite a lot going on. I suppose. It's not. I can't pull out the trump card just yet. It's a little bit too far. So instead, I think I might go ahead and use my. Oh, I think I know what I might do. I am going to target a point that I can see. It is 20-foot radius sphere, so let me just figure out some geometry real quick. Oh, they're already inside it. Alright. No, too far. Okay, maybe I won't do that. Instead, what I might do is I will go ahead and one thing I'm definitely doing is I'm going to be the space right there. It is. So I'm going to have a look at Raphael and I'm going to mark him with the secret geometries of my Hexblade scars as a bonus action. Then, action, I'm gonna be casting a spell. I am thinking that I will cast... I think I will cast a level 5 Mind Spike on him.
Ooh, a level 5 Mind Spike, you say?
Yes.
Well, that is a Wisdom save.
It is. And it's half damage on a successful one. So he'll be taking 29 on a failure or a...
Stop
That
beating
is a
my
fail.
boss. That's dumb.
yeah, so he's going to be taking 29 psychic damage. I always know... I will always know his location whilst he is on the same plane of existence as me for up to an hour. And he cannot become hidden from me, and he gained no benefits from being invisible against me.
Alright.
And there is, I believe there is a little bit of extra damage that needs to come too. Give me just a second.
Sound of feasting.
Oh, it's on a hit. Yep, nope, so it's just Yep, so no, that's all the things that happen. He can't become hidden from me anymore. And I will leave my turn there. I'm now out of spell slots.
Alright.
And I also...
So Raphael has been beaten. He's been slowly just is being eroded by the light from the blade, Jaden's blade, and of course there's this cylinder of light coming down from Mordecai's spell, and well,
Is
we
it his
have
turn or is it their turn?
Well, it's a little bit of both. Just how the owls are going on Casimir's turn. He's gonna do something, and then my zombies or whatever they are, they're not zombies, but my zombies are gonna do something. So, he is simply going to, his glowing eyes, close for a moment, open, there's a shine, and, two little orbs, which might be his eyes or just where he's casting from, are flying out, and they're going to converge at a point. They're going to converge... pretty much right in front of Mordecai here. And I need all of you, and this is actually going to include even one of my, or one of his allies down here. I need all of you to make a dexterity saving throw as this kind of, like, ghostly fire, like this pale blue fire, explodes and is washing over all of you here.
I'm gonna use a +1.
Yeah, Bright. Bright, and your familiar Peggy Sue are immune to this. Well, you're not
Do the owls
involved.
need to?
Owls are gonna have to, yes.
I'm using one of my +1s.
Would this be a spell?
Okay.
I'm
Is that-
gonna add the
that's
+1 to the owls. With it. How many are there? One.
Dexterity saves. I'm not really good at these, but it's alright. I'll deal. Yeah, I'll deal. It's fine. Owls are
Okay.
gonna be. It looks like they're gonna be getting some badonked though.
All right. So we have. Well, you all as player characters do end up passing, and so this is going to be half on a failed save.
We all did pretty good, except for the...
Yeah, I'll get to the owls in a second. We'll see what this ends up being. All right, so you all. There's actually going to be 2 instances of damage. If any of you have fire resistance, this is the fire portion. So this is the fire portion, and
So I passed, and I'm resistant, right?
yes, so you would only take a quarter of that damage. And this is necrotic damage.
And Casimir takes none, because Casimir... he just
It makes
takes
up
none
for
of
the
it.
20 damage I took from Mordecai.
Yep, so he just takes none.
Actually, Casimir, you would not have to worry personally, as you're next to him and you're right outside. You're outside the radius of this. So
So I didn't need it. I didn't need it.
No, Casimir, you're fine. Where you're at. So
that's not my reaction.
So
Noted.
if you have fire or necrotic resistances or immunities, I split the damage out. Otherwise, adding this up, it looks like this is going to be 72, so that's going to be 36, which would be half damage from both sources.
I'm also resistant to necrotic.
So you're just taking half.
So then you're taking
36,
quarter of
18.
36. Because it's still half on a save and then half again from being resistant.
Okay.
30.
Cool.
So I'm taking 36. 36.
All right. Cool. Hardly phases me.
Alright, so I need to make 2 saves. 2 constitution saves, both DC 10.
Go ahead and do that.
Pass.
Okay.
Does this count as 2 casts, or is this a single damage source?
This is one action. It just has
One
single damage
two
source.
sources of damage.
Yeah, it
So only one con
single-
saved, right?
Only one, one save, but there's 2. It has 2 layers of damage: fire and necrotic.
I'm using my inspiration for this. And that's a con save. Yes.
Ooh, all right.
I maintain Dawn.
I maintain knowing where he is. You cannot hide from me.
And
I'm still wet.
and for the owls, even if they're at full health, I presume that all of them are going to get nuked even if they pass. Casimir?
Okay, say one more time. This is replying to Deep.
So the owls have 36 or less hit points, even if they get the half damage, right? So they're all gone, or do they have more than 36?
They have 19.
Okay. All right. So unfortunately, all the owls are just like, so we're talking like fire necrotic damage. This is like looking at what comes out of the ark at the end of Indiana Jones, as these owls just sort of like melt away down to their ethereal essence and then kind of dissipate into, I don't know, wherever Casimir pulled them from. They return.
Peggy Sue sees all the other birds get incinerated, and she kind of wrinkles up her beak a little bit, which you didn't even know birds could do, but she found a way.
Yeah, so Bright, out among the waves here, you see a complementary light, but this is more of like where the other one is this dawn. It's it's a gentle but a strong holy light. This is a flare of fire that just makes you want to throw up in your mouth a little bit. I'd call it a sickening radiance, but it's not.
Sure, it's totally not.
It's a radiance that's sickening, but it's not sickening radiance.
That's my entropic degeneration. What are you talking about?
All right, so let's see. He went and
At the end of his turn, he needs to make a Constitution save versus Dawn.
he is going
not
to
moving.
move out of Dawn, and he's going to simply slide between. He's going to slide between Jacob and Casimir, and not provoke an AO for it.
Yeah.
As we're doing that dance. Although,
Yep.
uh,
Not leaving Ridge.
although, both of them use their reactions, right? No,
I
Casimir.
did not.
No, you didn't have to. That's right, you didn't have to. Jacob did. He's wielding the hurdy stick. I am going to provoke an AO from Casimir, as he's going to run past Jacob, and he is going to end up here between the two casters.
Why does Jacob not get an AO?
I used reaction on absorb
Oh,
elements to halve
I
the
Had
half
not
the
scrolled
damage.
down. My bad.
Oh,
You do?
all right, Casimir, you tag him. I was really hoping you wouldn't, but you did. Exceeding all expectations.
Pop.
Does Colossus Slayer count for?
Only on
It
your
does.
turn.
Oh no, it's once per turn. Once per turn, you
What?
tag an enemy, you get Colossus Slayer.
No, I already
then
used
then
it.
Casimir already used it, yeah.
I did.
All right, and then my
Is it once per turn or once per round? Because if it's once per turn, then you could use it on your turn and also on a reaction attack.
It's once per turn.
Yeah, so it would count. Yeah. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, creature takes an extra
6
D8
more
if it's below
damage.
its damage once per turn.
You try running from me.
Bonk.
I need to. Jaden's a threat. I gotta contain Jaden.
They gotta try and contain. You gotta try and contain the those who are remain. Oh, okay, they're not gonna be doing the thing. All right. So, Casimir, you might want to move out of the sphere. The radius. Hmm.
Where I be?
Okay. So they flee from the dawn and are making a pileup, almost like corralling Jaden and Casimir. Well, Jaden's not in here, but I don't know. They're kind of forming this wall to block you two from getting through, and then they are going to attempt to do things. And so by attempting to do things, let's find out. I have 4 attacks that are coming towards Jaden. And so let's roll. Let's roll 4d20. Actually, I'm going to do this just in case. I'm going to do this one at a time. So we're starting with the southernmost one. 20.
No, it doesn't hit. 21 is the target number.
Ooh.
I rolled a 16. All right.
Delicious.
Just
denied. Denied.
All right. So this former sailor turned into an undead. Its claws are elongated. It goes to scratch down, and can you describe the block in this regard, then, Jaden? As like sparks are probably flying off your armor.
Yeah, I think we'll go with that today.
Okay. So sure, you I don't know, bring the. Well, wait, is your armor on? Do you have the tail, or are you just?
I thought that was with.
Oh no,
Merkuri.
that is with Miss
correct.
Merkuri. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So your 20 would hit. Your 20
Okay.
would hit, sorry.
Okay,
That's right.
no problem.
I believe it was +1, so I am just at, I was at, using chainmail last time, if I recall, so chainmail plus shield.
Okay, yep. So 20. So you're gonna take 6 points of slashing damage, and I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, please. Oh yeah. Jaden is not shook at all.
Not sugar.
All right, that Gribbler misses. Gribbler.
Definite miss.
Yep, that one just. It's. I mean, look, it's just newly undead. It kind of just like looks at its claws and kind of goes, "Huh, look at that." And then the fourth one. The other one's just like, I got close to. As it's his big tongue kind of, oh, God, tongue. Raphael.
Abby has Eric dice tonight?
I guess they're passing around. Now I have 2 attacks on Casimir.
Baby zombie found his hand.
Yeah.
Baby zombie.
22 is gonna hit Casimir, right?
Yep.
All right. Taste the savage fury of my 2d4 plus 2. Take 6 points of slashing, and I need a con save, please.
Oh.
I cannot make saves.
Well, you don't. Well, the owls are gone. However, Casimir, their claws. Oh, you know what? Casimir, their claws scrape against your flesh, and you just get this. You get this chill up your spine. Though there's something like, well, you're a ranger, you're desert elf. There's some sort of like a primal essence inside of you that just says, "Not today, undead." And while there was this kind of chill effect that for a second was starting to vibrate through your body, there's like this inner flame inside of you that drove it off.
It's just a thing that doesn't do a thing to you, alright.
A thing that doesn't do a thing to Casimir.
Huh. Interesting.
And the second attack is also so I don't know, you sort of like buff off the first one, and the other claw gets entangled with the first, and it looks like these two things are holding hands, and it causes them to blush for a moment, and that's the end of their turn. I now have well, big guy's already gone, so he's just standing there in front of Mordecai. And I have 2 gribblers. I technically have 3 gribblers on the professor. And so I'm going to open up with... Alright, I presume that's not going to hit the professor.
No.
It was a good try.
Also a miss.
Can my lieutenant do something? Let's see. Whoops. This is going to be that. Hey, there's a 23.
That'll hit. And I need to roll
Cutting
a
words.
save. Oh! Oh, with that...
No, you!
Yeah, no, you hit yourself in the face.
And the cutting words will take this down to...
15.
That misses.
I want to hit him. All right.
The mean vampire part hurt my feelings.
I'm gonna do more than that.
So that's enemy turn. We now come up to Casimir. Casimir, you are starting. It's not a start of your turn, but if you end your turn in the dawn, I believe you take more damage. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
true.
Make a save against more damage, so you may want to move.
All right. So we were talking about something inside, keeping, something about my nature.
Yes. Ooh.
Oh.
A
Casimir
guardian of nature.
He just grips his axe, and he's like, and his skin starts to get a little, maybe scaly, maybe tough, maybe perhaps what you'd see on a stand-up. And he roars, and he's going to just bash by one of those zombies, whatever, to get on the other side. And he's gonna hit.
Well, I might get an AO on you. Hang on 1 second here. Moving through enemy spaces, unless you are a halfling or have some other special what's-a-madoodle here, you would have to go. So doing that dance, so that would provoke 1 AO from this one, and then you can end your turn here. Do you want to take the AO and end up there?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
What did you pick? Primal Beast or Great Tree?
Primal beast.
Oh yeah.
We got some desert heat. All right, so this is going to hit. I need you to make a con save. And you are also going to take 9 points of slashing damage. And so yeah, this primal whatever, like once more you feel the scrape, and there's something that's like this energy that's trying to infiltrate you, but there's something inside you, Casimir, that is it is this primal force, and you rebuff the attack. Well, not the damage, but whatever this
You still have
sickening
to make a
effect.
concentration check for that too,
You do need to make a concentration check for that.
which is another con save.
I believe in you, Casimir. Oh no! All right, so what I said still stands because your elven nature, your elven fury is still active. So, so what we have Casimir like Colossus from the X-Men arcade game here, and you go to dash around, and that one just kind of it claws you right across the back, and as you do, it knocks the magic out of you. You're still a magical person, I guess. Because an 8's not going to do that, but yeah, unfortunately you can't maintain concentration, but you are in an advantageous and also out of dawn range position.
Well, I'm hitting each of them. I'm trying.
Okay, you're going to whirlwind the 3 of them. All 3 of them are absolutely going to hit, which is going to dispatch this one. Your
Has any
second
of them
one...
taken damage before?
Yes. And you dispatch all 3 of them.
Oh. Never mind them.
You wheel around, so that this primalness, like, I guess we could say, you channel that into your axe, and you just you cleave them. You cleave them all, spraying their entrails even further around what was left inside of them, covering their friends and Jaden and yourself, and especially the deck, in more blood and guts.
And then I'll go over here.
Okay, and when that happens, that ghostly light that was in their eyes all rise up and suck right back into our villain here, Raphael. Or is he? Dun dun dun. And that is going to take us to...
Anti-villain.
All right. And once more, his blisters, even on his ruined undead skin, like, are taking him back to look pretty much like the pretty boy he was in life, if not, if not just with the stillness of death, without that blush of life as a tiefling. All right, so that's Casimir. We come down to Mordecai. Mordecai, what are you doing?
I buried you. What brought you back?
The will of Ouijas.
You don't speak for Ouijas anymore. You died. I'm the vessel of Ouijas now. And I am going to move Dawn with my bonus action.
Okay.
And I am going to encircle him in it.
Okay.
And what do I do with my action? With my action, I am going to cast Sacred Flame.
Against him?
Yes.
All right. I believe that's at disadvantage because that's a ranged attack and you're in melee with him.
Nope, it's a saving throw.
That's a saving throw.
Oh.
It's a dex save.
Oh. Wait, which one was I thinking of then?
You might have been thinking of
Something like Firebolt.
Yeah, it was
Firebolt,
probably something like
Shocking
Firebolt.
Growth.
Gotcha.
Cleric cantrips are almost always saves.
DC 17 dexterity save.
Yeah. Chill touch for Death Cleric is about the only one that's an attack.
All right, I don't save.
He takes 13 radiant damage.
All right, the radiant damage slams into him, and more of his bandages are peeling back, showing more of this like very almost like perfect porcelain flesh, and you can see Mordecai. You can see that there is maybe some kind of a mark of Weejass on his chest, but you're only seeing a portion of it. But I mean, judging from it, I mean, you've seen one, you've probably seen them all, but it does look like there's some kind of a symbol to Weejass on his chest, but it's still covered up by bandages. Anything else then?
I am simply just getting a little bit angry because he's attacking me, saying that I shouldn't exist. So he's going to pay for that. And that's my turn.
Okay. Bright, this giant spotlight from the heavens shifts further away. You're paddling in the water. Peggy Sue is flying around. What would you like to do?
Okay, so which character on the map is Raphael? Is it this one?
Correct.
Okay. So if I take the dash action, will you allow me to take 2 guaranteed squares?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. What if I take the dash action and want to roll for athletics?
Then it would be 4 squares or nothing.
Okay. Okay. I have an inspiration on my sheet. I don't know if that counts. Does that count?
You get advantage.
You'd get advantage if you want to use it, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I just didn't know where it came from. I mean, you gave out some inspiration a while ago, and I don't think I ever used it. It was like 2 weeks ago.
No, because we
that?
haven't generated treasure.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know how you use your inspiration.
Okay. I want to take the dash action, and I want to use my inspiration.
Sure.
And I want to roll athletics. So I want to roll for 4 squares or no squares.
There we go. All right. All or nothing.
$14.
14? Oh, I think that was really... I don't have the, shoot, I don't have my, my DC ranges. You're
want me to
level
roll
13?
again?
No. I just,
See if I get a more convincing result.
I thought I kept my DMG on the treasure because I was clipping out the mechanics for you all. At this medium, of course I don't have my DM screen in front of me. What a medium DC check at this level. What page? Sorry, y'all. I didn't have a number in mind because it's like, well, it's a bunch of waves or whatever. But I'm like, yeah, there's a chart for that, and I don't know offhand what that. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. We're gonna do because 14's pretty respectable. It was close to. I was thinking like, yeah, probably mid-teens is what it would end up being. Why don't we just roll a? We could do a high or low and roll a d20, 1 to 10 or an 11 to 20, and if it's yeah, I mean, you're not wrong in that regard. So, do you want high or low, and then roll a d20, and then it'll be...
Yeah, I'll take the high.
Okay, and then roll a d20? Yeah, you did it. All right. So I guess you caught a wave that was like, you were timing it, and you kind of like bloop, and then you blorped over the wave, and you used some momentum, and you got 4 squares on this one. There we go.
Okay. Whee!
Woo! We got a little dolphin.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have Peggy Sue. She can move really fast in the air. She has fly speed of 50, so I'm gonna have her fly over to here,
Okay.
and she'll stay in the air. She's not landing, and I want to have her look. Well, I guess I can't really do it because I used my action. So I guess that's all for me.
Okay. I'll tell you what. Have Peggy Sue roll a perception at disadvantage, because there might still be something that you could be in a position to see, even if you're not explicitly looking. Okay.
There's my usual perception.
There we
rolls.
go.
That's
Man,
what
we're all
they
playing
need.
hot potato with the dice here.
Yeah, but I always roll low in perception. That's totally normal. Oh, I rolled for me instead of for Peggy Sue, but it's okay. It would improve it to a 6.
Okay. That still wouldn't be enough in this regard. All right, so we have our little bright dolphin jumping the waves here. We come over to Investigator Jaden Stillwaters. The spotlight of the dawn is upon you. You're surrounded by enemies. What would you like to do?
I guess I'll fight my way out.
Okay. Each of them have taken damage before. That'll hit.
And they're undead, aren't they?
They are undead.
And because I absorbed elements last time.
Some fire.
Okay, first one goes down. You hit the second one. And that... Oh, yeah. That one's gone. Oh, yep, you hit that one. Yep, that one goes too.
And
All
if
right.
you want to leave the ring, you won't take damage.
Yeah.
Yep.
And those three little wisps re-enter Raphael.
Yeah, I'll move towards Raphael.
Okay. Do you still want to stand in the dawnlight, or?
Yeah, I have to keep him focused on me, or else it just gets worse.
If you wanted, what you could probably do, especially because you're the athletic type, the roof of this little stairwell overhang is only 10 feet. You could probably get a running start and grip onto the roof here, and then you can move along the roof so you're like in a predatory stance above, and then maybe do a drop-down maneuver on your turn. Or again, if you want to be on the deck, that's fine, if you want to be in the dawn.
Yeah, sure. I think I'll move out of the way.
Okay, go ahead and roll in athletics. As you're going to take off and try and cling to the... That'll be enough for what you have, because your strength score is what, 18, 20 by now?
My strength is 20.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, you have the 10 feet of movement. You jump. You have more than enough to continue in this regard, and you are on top of this roof that is covering the staircase going down, and you are hovering over. So you're 10 feet above Raphael. So not within melee range, but you can drop down, or I don't know, like jump over Mordecai or do something else in that regard. Okay, but you are out of the dawn, and is there anything else, Jaden, or are we moving on to Cytherius?
Moving on.
All right, Professor. The light of dawn shines on you. You have enemies around you.
It does. What I am thinking is, I will be willing to take the AOOs from this. Moving to here. I'll take the 3 attacks of opportunity.
Okay.
I can tank it, it's fine.
First purple. No.
Miss.
I have a big tongue. And they're baffled by their modified bodies. 15
That's gonna
misses.
miss.
And then the lieutenant. There's a 21. All right.
That'll hit. So I'll take the 1.
In that case, let's see. The lieutenant did something kind of the same thing but different.
Question.
Whoops. Yes.
Because he was moving, could I activate Sentinel?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that would make sense.
because one of them they're all attacking something different than you.
Yeah, and they don't have the feet, so that would be fair that you get to attack whichever one that you desire to attack.
I want to hit the...
Which one are you aiming for?
The lieutenant?
The lieutenant? All right, that'll hit the lieutenant.
And you get Colossus Slayer too.
Oh.
And I take 10.
10 slashing damage, and I need you to make a con saving throw, please.
Yes. Not very good at these, but yeah.
Okay. So you, as you go to move away, this thing claws you, and you feel. I mean, you've been a student of the Shadowhar. You've studied arcane mysteries and really gross stuff. There's this. Mechanically, you are paralyzed. However, there's this like a chill that's not a temperature chill. Your body just kind of like seizes up as there's like this kind of a dread, but it's not fear. Your body can't move as this thing scrapes into you.
Oh, okay. Paralyzed.
Yes.
Oof.
That is not good. Paralyzed is one of the worst conditions that you could ever be under.
You are going to get to make saving throws at the end of your turns. As a heads up. But on your move, you are paralyzed.
Okay. Well, in that case, I incapacitated, can't move or speak, so I can't take any actions or bonus actions, or reactions. I automatically fail straight to dex saving throws, and then so we'll have to move to end of turn then.
Okay.
So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to Constitution save versus the paralysis.
Okay.
Wow. Paralyzed.
You promptly pee your
Snake
pants.
Save versus the Dawn.
Oh, wow. 2 and a 2.
Wow, it's 17.
You're just
I am
frozen and you look up as just this...
I am aching. That's not good. It's probably look like I'm probably going to go down. Because any attack that's made against a creature that's within 5 feet of me automatically counts as a crit if it hits me.
Alright.
I'm not down yet, but it's now their turn to do things. Actually, does it stop me from taking the action?
Yeah, it does. I think so, because you're incapacitated.
I'll have a look just to make sure. Incapacitated actions or reactions? Damn it. Okay. Just because that is important.
I believe you're still standing. Well, I mean, I don't know.
I am still
That's
standing.
But
I am
it
still
is
standing.
what? It's advantage, and if it hits, it's an auto crit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So long as the creature's within 5 feet of me.
So first things first, I'm gonna. Boy, I can't get my little gribblers out of the dawn without provoking an AO. But you know what? They're doing their job. So my lieutenant's gonna try and get revenge on Casimir. And I will hit. And you take 13 slashing damage, and once more there's that kind of like a fuzzy pins and needles tingle, Casimir, but your primal self is not shook. Unlike Cypherius, whose his knees are making a cartoony kind of a rattlebones noise.
I didn't do a thing, but I suppose next turn I don't have a choice.
All right, middle purple.
Who are they going for?
Is going to swing on Casimir. Not Casimir. Not, my 2 purples are going to swing on Cypherius.
Go ahead. Oh, with advantage then.
Middle is going to be a crit.
Crit.
I mean, it was going to be a crit anyway, so I guess it's...
Waste a natural
Yeah.
20. That's fine.
yeah.
Yep. Waste a natural 20.
So this is going
Roll
to
the
be...
damage.
All right, 14 damage. Slashing.
Down.
How are you doing? Oof.
Not dead. Down.
Okay, you're at
Don't
0
worry.
hit points. And
Don't.
the...
Just as something comical, can I like not fall prone considering I'm paralyzed and can't move? I'm kind of just there twitching.
You just
That's fine. I mean, mechanically, it's going to be the same effect. So yeah, if you just got like you're I don't want to say you're a dead man standing. You're paralyzed and you're just to the point where like you can't fall down because your joints have seized up. You might need a tetanus shot for that. So
Yeah.
the other one.
Roll the. It's still with advantage.
Cutting words.
That's gonna miss.
Yeah, with a 13's not even gonna hit, right? Oh.
Yeah, no, wouldn't hit me.
All right, so you're there in the
I'm
Mortal
at 0.
Kombat. I'm at 0 hit points. You're kind of doing the stagger, and I completely biff my fatality input, and it just. All right, so you're still there staggered, and it's the end of their turns. Well, wait, can
So
they can attack, and then they can actually move afterwards. So
They can move.
Yeah.
They can move.
one of them can move.
Are they going to though, considering they're focusing me at the moment? Me and Casimir.
Well,
Because I mean, just because they can move doesn't necessarily mean that they should,
Or that they're going to. Yeah.
or that they're going to.
the lieutenant. I think the lieutenant is going to try and risk moving out. So, Casimir, if you want to make an AO on the lieutenant.
I actually don't have a reaction.
No
Oh,
reaction.
you don't have a reaction. Oh. Well, then.
Is it you Sentinel?
Gotcha.
Yeah, move.
All right, so it's going to dash out. And then if we have these two which are on you, they're not smart, but they're not unintelligent. And they're standing in here, so they can always move back on you. And if you're just going to stand there anyway, they're going to lurk right outside the dawn. And now I have my big boy here, and he is going to step outside the light into the dimness, right next to Mordecai, and he's going to look up at Jaden. I get 2, and is going to make 3 attacks on Mordecai.
Well, it's a good thing I have cutting words still.
Yeah.
Because I didn't use my reaction.
All right, so we're looking at a 24, 21, 21.
Well, all 3 of those would hit.
Well, one of those is gonna have disadvantage.
I will do this. Jaden, if you're willing to throw your shield, because you're technically out of range, you're not adjacent. Remember, you're 10 feet up. However, if you're willing to forego your shield and drop your AC, I'll kind of let you try and Captain America one of the attacks and force disadvantage by casting your shield aside.
Yeah, if it keeps him out of trouble.
Okay. So, Mordecai, the first one's gonna try and come down, and suddenly there's as a shield is lobbed from above, and let's see if this has an effect. Oh, that was almost an 8, so that would have been lower. However, it still looks like it's going to be a 24 on the first one. So, I don't know. We'll say it was like it was coming for your face. The shield managed to deflect it a bit, and it kind of just goes through your bicep instead. And are you cutting words, any of these? Or do you want me to roll it one at a time for you here?
Roll it one at a time.
Okay.
Because...
Okay. That's going to be 9 points of slashing damage.
Oh, that's not too bad. Okay. Next.
You've also got concentration checks to make too.
9 more damage.
They're all going to be DC 10 because even if he rolls maximum.
Yeah. Next.
And 13 slashing.
Okay. I am looking rough, but I'm up. I'm going to Hellish Rebuke.
Ah.
Yeah, it's burning.
You hit me, I hit you back.
You hit me, I hit you back.
It's burning.
With burning and a dex save, man, that's poopy. Oh, the table was tilted. You all saw it. That was a 20, clearly.
Oh yes.
You can't
There's
call
a wrinkle in the map.
can't call the
virtual
crinkle.
The virtual crinkles. Sure.
I'll draw another one like I did last time.
You can't call the roll 20.
Oh gosh. Oh, that was so close. All right, so I failed that Hellish Rebuke. And so I'm going to be taking
resistant, but
20 is going to slam into him. He is a tiefling, but we have okay. How does your Hellish Rebuke manifest? Like, does it fly out from between your horns, or your hands, or your tail, or something? Or do you just, like, say a curse word and it burns them?
it kind of... Mordecai's never really done this in front of the party before.
Oh, my.
But it kind of... His eyes go stark black.
Ooh. All right.
And he looks really devilish in this moment, which he doesn't like very much about himself, but just stares at Raphael, and it's almost as if the stare explodes on his face.
Oh, okay.
Staring into his eyes, it's almost like he's like catching his eyes is what it causes the explosion of fire.
Okay. Sure. So your Hellish Rebuke goes off. It kind of clutches his face. And some more of the bandages are sort of like are seared away and are kind of blown off here. And he looks at you and just no vampire fangs, but you get a clear view, just a sneer. Okay, so you Hellish Rebuke, and he is going to continue. He's going to continue his movement, and that is going to be here. You can get a melee AO on him, Mordecai, if you have a weapon.
Using my
handy.
reaction.
Oh,
Nope.
yeah, to Hellish Rebuke. Okay, so that was 5, 10, 15, 20. He was here, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 30. And there is a another sort of a burst off of him, and we see
He's making more guys.
He's
All right.
healing him.
and this one is also, that one's a lieutenant, so I made that purple. However, they're just jittering, so they don't get to do anything. 2, 3, that one's out of range. And what happens now is that is the end of enemy turn. It is NPC turn. And 2 things are going to happen. The first thing to happen here is going to be the garage door rolls up, and you see that there's a squad of sailors that are forming there, and like it rolls up, and they start to step out, and they see what's going on, and they're assessing the battlefield. So it looks like there's some actual Shadowheart sailors that have come up maybe from below or this area, and there is overhead. There is an orange streak, like a comet, almost like the explosion from the airship. And you're seeing now these are actually going to come into play. I hadn't done anything with them here. One of them is actually this one is going to be on the map more officially because they've been in a kind of a maneuver as they're waiting for things to order to for there to be commands. However, this northern one, this fiery comet, this kind of orange fire streak, blows through it. The airship is still, it's going right through the middle, so the engines didn't seem to be damaged, but it certainly has sustained damage. And you all do see that this support gunship has moved forward and has turned to put a broadside facing you all. That's not the best angle, but you get what I'm going for. However, it moves up in positions in that regard, and things seem to be loaded and ready to fire. Raphael has moved over and has used some kind of a legendary, like an epic extension of himself, and more of these corpses begin to rise, and the comet, after breaching through this northern airship, arcs down, like almost like maybe it was the trajectory changed or pivoted based on that, and it's aiming right for the deck of the ship right here. And the comet lands, and there's just a fiery sort of a gout that comes up from the point of impact, and the whole deck rattles slightly. And what you see is a orange-skinned tiefling dressed as a schoolmarm steps out from the fiery rocket that collided with the deck of the ship.
Ha!
Sorry I'm late, all. I figured you needed help. And Miss Merkuri appears on the deck of the ship.
She can currently see the fact that Scyther is frozen stiff as a board in the middle of the thing, looking kind of in pain.
And she has almost like a shadow at first that was behind her, but now that the pyrotechnics are gone, there's a darkened suit of armor that's just sort of like in a magically mannequined whole state. She looks to the battle. She looks up to Investigator Stillwaters. She looks over at Professor Cypherius. Like, she sees everything that's going on. And she asks, "What would you have me do?"
Focus fire.
Um,
And I look like I'm about ready to shoot another guiding bolt at Raphael.
We'll do a little extended narration here, or in so much that I'll give you a list of things you can ask her to do. Because she'll, as she's coming in, what do you want me to do? And I'll give you some options, and you can ask her to help in various ways. You can have her focus fire on whatever, the little gribblers, or on the boss. She brought the armor with her, and she could give the armor to Jaden. You can have her...
it would take like 10 minutes for Jaden to get out of armor anyway.
She's magical. There's ways. And she also says that I can provide support if you're open-minded. Like personnel support, but you have to be open-minded. So the option is you can put Jaden in big armor. You can get allies to help you. You can have her just cast spells. She has single target and AoEs at various targets. Or if there's something else, you could tell her to get out of here. We don't need you. That's an option.
First things first would be to get Jaden her armor.
Nah, don't waste it like that. Keep with the offense.
Okay, then focus fire on Raphael.
Okay. All right. So you ask her to focus fire, and she says that she will. She says that she will do so, and is going to. She is going to hit with a firebolt and deal 19 fire damage to him. Okay. That was her move and her action. I'll tell you what, though, everyone. Why don't we get up and take a break? We've been going for about 2 hours, and I could use to get up for a minute here. More than a minute, but you know what I'm saying? So all of you out there in the audience, we're going to get up. We're going to refresh ourselves, get something to drink, stretch, and eat. And we'll come back 10, 15 minutes or so, and we'll see where things are going from here. So stick around, and we'll see you on the back end of this.